This is the Hollywood Outsider, weekly entertainment podcast where this week we are looking at upcoming releases including Looper and Won't Back Down. We're going to review Resident Evil Retribution and Finding Nemo 3D. Our From the Outside In topic this week is a listener-suggested topic on our seasonal movie needs. We're going to have the latest in movie and TV news as always, our own trivia and flashback DVD segments, including this week's contest winner. My name is Aaron Peterson, and I'll be your host. Along with me today are my fellow hosts, Scott Clark.
What up?
Yeah, really? Justin McCumber.
Hello, Aaron. How are you doing?
I don't even know who you are. Brian Williams.
Good and proper.
Hey, look, you shouldn't be the only one to do voices and stuff. Let Scott give it a shot.
What was that? An African American? Because it wasn't a good one.
I don't even know what to say to that.
And now they're writing letters. Thanks a lot.
It's not even day appropriate. Arg, Aaron, how be it today?
Oh yeah, we are recording on National Talk Like a Pirate Day. So my name's Aaron Peterson of the Hollywood Outsider podcast. I can't do that for a long period of time.
What was that? A drunk Sean Connery?
Is there a sober Sean Connery?
No. Hey, today is episode 60. Congratulations, we made it. Whatever that is, a year and something.
A year and 8 weeks.
Yeah, year and 8 weeks.
Carry the one.
Every time we hit a 10, it's like a monumental achievement. So 40 more and we hit 100.
They haven't
Congratulations.
shut us down yet.
No.
In my podcast, we're up on 240. Come back to me later, bitch.
240?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're not
Yeah,
talking about that
but
podcast.
there's still only 6 people that listen.
Well, hey, they're quality 6, man.
Let's
And
jump
they're all listening to this show, too.
Let's jump right into movie news. First off, let's talk about the potential directions for Transformers 4. Hasbro is citing decreased toy sales, and it's pushed to introduce more new characters in the Transformers universe, and decreased roles for series mainstays like Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. What say you, McCumber?
I know people are going to just jump off of cliffs to yell their rage and their vitriol that the next Transformers movie probably won't have Bumblebee and probably won't have much more than a brief cameo or appearance of Optimus Prime, because somehow the lack of these characters is going to completely undercut, the gravity and pathos of the Transformers movie. But let's all get real for a second. The only reason the original cartoon even existed was to be a half-hour commercial for toys. Hasbro has toys, they want to sell them, therefore they make a cartoon that gets kids to want to buy them. Make the cartoon, you sell the toys. Now that they're making films, if those films are not causing a bump in the sales of their toys, then they need to do something to change it. And so if they're going to create a new line of Transformers that this movie is going to be about to help do that, then I think it's perfectly natural for them to want to do that. And personally, I've had 3 movies with these characters. I would actually like to see some new Transformers come in, get a little new blood, whether they're taking other characters from the show that had not been brought on yet and giving them new roles, or just creating them out of whole cloth. I think it's a fine idea. I'd love to just see Optimus come on a video screen or a cameo, and then he's done, and it's a whole new cast of people with robots. I think it's a fine idea, but I know I'm going to be in the minority. Everybody else is going to be screaming the opposite.
And that was Justin McCumber, brought to you from Hasbro, Inc.
Yes, this message brought to you by Hasbro.
Do you approve this message?
Hasbro does.
I actually agree with you 100%. Yep, write that shit down right now.
I think we just lost Justin, seriously.
I don't like how Bumblebee is in the movies anyway, how he only talks in radio. I mean, that got old after the first movie.
Yeah.
I do think Optimus Prime has to be part of it, but I don't care if he's the main focus or not. But I do want to see more Transformers because, honestly, if I see the little rapper guys again, I will walk out in the middle of the movie. I don't want to see them. It's so pathetic and ridiculous. I don't want to see that. I actually want to see it on their world.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I know you gotta have people involved because you have to have a human element, it seems like. And
Do you?
Yeah, I think you do. I
Well,
really
in
cartoons
Hollywood,
didn't.
thinking you do.
The cartoons were for kids. You're going to have a lot more than kids that go to a $120 million movie.
True.
And no studio is going to approve just CGI for a film. No studio.
Not for $300 million.
No, they're just not going to do it. So I'm glad that they want to expand it. I get that they want to sell toys. Movies are a business, man. People get enraged and they want whatever they like to be the main focus, but it's a business, and if the toys aren't selling, that's part of Hasbro's business, and they're in charge of that property. So
I'm fine with that. I think probably what it kind of gets under a lot of people's skin is the fact that they're open about it. Yeah, it's just one of those things like, okay, we're just going to be making this just so we can sell, just so we can sell toys. I mean, I get that, and I even agree with you guys on that. But it's just one of those things to where just don't be so blatant about it. Mm-hmm. It's okay to do it, just don't be so in our face about it. It's just because I would rather hear him say, you know what? Hey, we want to sell, we want to increase our line of toys and stuff. Okay, throw that in there with a comment about, hey, but we've got a great script. I think I like the direction that they're going. Just lie to me. That's everybody else does, and I'm fine with it. So just lie to me. I'm okay with it. I mean, I know better.
Is that why you call your hookers by your wife's name? You want to, just live that fantasy. These companies aren't out to make money.
Oh, that was awesome. All right. Well, let's move on before Brian's divorced. Norman Reedus gave an interview with the internet.
Over the internet.
Yes, he did, with IFC, where he stated that director Troy Duffy, he and Sean Patrick Flanery are reuniting for a Boondock Saints 3, and this was confirmed by Troy Duffy himself.
Horrible fucking idea. So
because
it's just a classic example of the, I haven't been able to parlay my cult hit into other successes, so I'm going to keep going back to making crappy sequels. I'm sorry, the second one was bad. I'll say it.
I'm glad that I was not the only one that thought that.
I like the second one.
Sean Patrick Flanery looked horrible. He looked like Cher. He's had so many horrible facelifts in that movie.
Oh, he did look bad.
Isn't he the guy who was in the Dead Zone TV show?
No, that's Anthony Michael Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall.
No. There was a guy who played Senator.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're right. Yep. And he was young Indiana Jones.
Anthony Michael Halls.
He was young Indiana Jones, too.
Right. Sorry.
I'm with Brian, though. I think what made the original one so much fun was it was a novelty idea at the time, and it didn't get a whole lot of... It was kind of a cult following, and then they tried to follow it up.
Right. It was that one that you picked up off the shelf when you went to Blockbuster back in the late 90s.
Yeah. What's this?
And you're like, well, I'll give this a shot, and it turns out to be a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't seen it.
The first one?
I own it, and I still haven't watched it yet.
How do you own it and not have watched it?
Dude, I've got DVDs that are still in their wrapping.
He's got VHSs. They're still in the cellophane.
Damn.
Well, I like the second one, so I want to see the third one. I'm fine with it. They're not films that I expect to be great by any means, but I had fun with the second one. Mm-hmm. So I'm perfectly fine with it.
For me, it's going to have to bring something new to the table to get me really excited. I mean, the whole idea was
like
a fresh...
new poem.
No, that's my point. I don't know what that answer is, but the first one was a fresh idea that just came out of nowhere, and this one, in the third one, I just don't see it surprising me.
Okay, I got to stop this because a lot of people say this. What was fresh about it? There was nothing fresh about that movie. It was a bunch of guys that start shooting people. Like, that hasn't been done.
Yeah, but they threw in the references to the other, like some of the other movies, like Charlie Bronson, and it's some of the humor and stuff that was in there. So
no, don't
the flashbacks. Okay, yeah, Tarantino had done. A lot of people have done that. It was way overdone, but it was fresh in the sense, for me anyway, that it was just one of those movies that you just didn't see coming.
And you didn't see a lot of the story arcs with it. I mean, they walked into the police station at the very beginning of the movie. I didn't see that come the first time I saw it. I thought it was fun.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great movie. Mm-hmm. I just hear people say how original it was, and there's nothing original about it. It's very predictable. But I like it. It's fun because of the characters and the way that they told the story. But anyway, third one's in the works, so expect that. I don't know. It took quite a few years for the last one, so we'll see if how long it's going to be.
Exactly. These guys are too old to be doing this role. Norman Reedus, I think, could still pull it off. Sean Patrick Flanery is too fat and stretched out right now. He can't do it anymore.
Well, Reedus is the only one that doesn't even need this job.
Yeah, he's doing Walking Dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing Walking Dead. He's doing fine. One of our listeners sent this in to us, and I thought this was a genius way to handle talkers and texters in theaters. But a London theater chain is employing volunteer ninjas, to sneak up on people and tell them to shut the hell up. Is this genius or what?
Absolutely, it's genius, but it won't happen here. It'll be
voluntary ninjas.
I know. It's just
I
asking.
think it's stupid.
It's asking.
You shut your whore mouth. Why is it stupid?
Because the very thing that they're supposed to be combating, which is someone being disruptive in a theater, is only going to be taken to an even greater extreme when they either A, scream their head off when this ninja pounces on them from behind, or they're going to laugh their ass off and it's going to turn. Either way, it becomes a bigger interruption in what's going on than had this ninja never shown up at all. It sounds good in theory, but in reality, I don't think it's going to do anything to limit people from talking. In fact, I think it will probably do the opposite. Now people are going to do it just so to see if the ninja will come out and get them.
That's a good point, actually. I think
people are fucking dumb.
Not to mention, I'm distracted for a few seconds by somebody's cell phone that's 10 rows in front of me. All right, I can. Unfortunately, I've learned to deal with that. But on top of that, now I've got some guy in a black leotard that's coming by and rubbing up against me as he's trying to make his way down to somebody else that's causing a ruckus or talking or whatever. So
unless they're descending, Mission Impossible style from the ceiling, they're
taking their phones. Give me that.
Right.
I think especially with the stuff happening in Colorado, that you're just asking for lawsuits. All it's going to take is someone to be scared and piss their pants in the theater, and then they're going to sue the theater. And
you know what? I don't care. I want them to do something drastic because I'm sick of going to a movie and you spend a fortune. Mm-hmm. And example, I went today. I went with my mom to see The Birds because they had a 1-day showing at AMC. Mm-hmm. So I go see The Birds with all 80-year-old people. I mean, it's not like a spry group, and they're texting and playing games and shit during the movie. Why did you spend that much money to come see a movie because you want to see this on the big screen?
Because they're out of grandkids, man.
No, but I want something done. I don't care what it is. Come in and actually handle the business because I don't want people talking and texting during a movie.
Oh, I'm with you.
Oh.
And for the record,
I like ninjas.
I just see too many bad things. Way too much bad coming out of this than the good, unfortunately.
Right. Especially
I see a lot of fights breaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Haterade.
And like Justin said, people start doing it on purpose and just asking for more trouble. I love the idea, but I think it won't.
The application of it's probably not feasible.
Well, it won't get the desired result.
I'm going to let you know because I'm going to try it. By this time next week, I'll let you know. I'm going to do an experiment where I dress like a chubby ninja, and I'm going to buy a ticket and just go from theater to theater and just put my hand over people's mouths saying, shh, see what happens. I kill you. I kill you. Okay, a couple pieces of big news. Godzilla in 3D. So we're getting another Godzilla. It's scheduled for May 16th, 2014, and it's going to be directed by Gareth Edwards. And Jamie Gunn, is confirmed to be writing and directing Marvel's next huge step, Guardians of the Galaxy.
One of these pieces of information I'm really excited about, and the other one I am completely unexcited about. I'll leave you to try and figure out ahead of time which one of these I care more about. I am not a guy in suit fan. I've never been a Godzilla fan. Even when I was a kid, it looked so styrofoamy and rubber suity. I never got the love, and I know a lot of people who head over heels for Godzilla. I never got it. It just looked like a dude rampaging through a bunch of cardboard city streets and Japanese people going Gojira as he comes around. It never appealed to me. It wasn't helped by that shit film Matthew Broderick was in, back in the day, where they turned Godzilla into just a giant iguana. So the fact that they're going to be rebooting it again, great for those people who are fans. I hope they stick closer to the look of the original Godzilla, yet bring something new and interesting to it. Other than that, though, I really could not be less interested. It is, though, funny that the script on this is being written by David Callahan, who wrote the Expendables movies, David Goyer, who, of course, wrote the Blade movies, the Dark Knight films, big comic book guy, and Max Bornstein, who did a film called The Seventh Son, which I've never seen. So, I mean, at least it's got some interesting writers attached to it. Mm-hmm. Those alone If they come up with something interesting, I'll of course go and check it out. But at this moment, I could not care less. But the Guardians of the Galaxy, even though I'm not overly familiar with them as a comic book, I loved what Marvel has done with their films so far. I think they really haven't made a real wrong turn yet. James Gunn is a talented writer. He's a talented director. And so I can't wait to see what he's going to do with this kind of diverse cast that the film's going to have. I have faith that Marvel knows what they're doing. And this one, much more interested than the other one. Guardians of the Galaxy, it seems weird on paper, but I bet it's going to work out.
I love James Gunn. I think he is a clever guy. What is the little shorts?
His PG porn.
Yes, PG porn.
Fucking hysterical.
That is genius little short films. You got to find them. It's basically like porn that just goes wrong before it becomes porn. It's a joke.
Porn for people who don't like sex.
Yes, it's porn for people who don't. It's hard to explain, but it's really clever. And Slither, I thought he nailed
like
80s horror monster flicks, and he also wrote Dawn of the Dead. He's a very talented writer. I'm not, but see, I wasn't sure about Joss Whedon either. His big directing style, and he obviously nailed it. So they have faith in him. I think the guy can really bring the story to life.
Yep,
I'm excited. Godzilla, don't give a shit about. I saw the remake with Matthew Broderick and all the little Godzilla babies, and I didn't think it was awful, but I don't want another one.
You know the best part of that shitty remake, which granted I agree it's shitty. I was looking forward to it when I was a kid, and I hated it even as a kid. When they're being chased by Godzilla through the city in their helicopters, and they're going, "I can't shake him, I can't shake him, go up!" Like I just never that. Even as a kid, I'm like, "You're in a freaking helicopter." Anyway, Brian? Are you? I'm actually kind of excited for a Godzilla movie if they could make it realistic. I mean, I think of movies like. The name's escaping me. The one where it's like a found footage movie and the monster you never see. The Cloverfield.
That was awesome, but it was a completely different style of movie.
Exactly, but I think if they could do it not necessarily in the vein of the shaky cam and that kind of thing, but maybe a little bit more. I mean, it's not going to be a mystery to the audience because if the film is called Godzilla, But go a little bit more serious route because the last one just was so campy and so silly. Make it serious, make it more fun, make it believable. I guess I have such a bad taste in my mouth of that remake, but I'd like to see that property taken in a good direction. Am I completely alone on that?
No, I don't know.
I'm more interested in Pacific Rim, which is the film that Guillermo del Toro is working on. It's going to have giant monsters fought by people in giant robot suits.
I thought that was at that massage parlor there in Dallas that you go to quite a bit.
Well, there's that too with the happy ending if you tip right. But no, Pacific Rim, because that's a lot of it's Guillermo del Toro. I love almost anything he does, but yeah, Godzilla. Yeah.
All right. Well, the next big piece of news, and I think this is really, I don't know if it's sad or interesting. I can't decide. But theater owners are trying to stop the New York City ban against selling larger than 16-ounce drinks in restaurants and theaters in the city's plight to curb obesity. Is this still fucking America? Did I miss something?
First of all, this law is absolutely ridiculous. In this day and age, there's just a whole lot of information out there on obesity and the causes of it, et cetera. We know what makes us fat. We eat bad and we're lazy.
Fair enough.
I get it. I choose to be that way, and I'm fine with that. But and also, if I'm paying $10 for a Coke, I want more than a 16-ounce cup.
That's a really good point.
And it's absolutely absurd that diet sodas are exempt from this because drinking 44 ounces of a Diet Coke is so much better for you than regular Coke. But to me, this is just one more, it's just a step closer to communism or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's just, it's fat people management. Now it's, next it's a government workers telling you it's time for you to go to bed because via a speaker that's installed in your house, which you probably got to pay for yourself. But I don't know. This is just bullshit.
I agree with you, Brian. This is just too far gone. Too far gone. You're going to tell them, look, it's America. The whole concept of America is we're free. That's not. You're going to tell me how much I can drink? That is communism. That's socialism. That's you dictating my life. Government dictating everything I do. I don't need you to tell me when to stop. If I want to be a big giant fat ass, isn't that why you got the new medical care that covers me no matter what?
Oh, wow. Why are theater owners, here's what I want to know, why are theater owners opposed to this idea? Because someone that can't get a big enough drink, they're just going to buy 2 of them.
Why are?
Well, no, theater owners are trying to stop the ban.
That's what I'm saying. Why?
Because they know they'll lose
Because
customers.
the bigger your drink, the more they can charge your ass. And then it is suddenly, if all they could serve you was a 16-ounce drink, I ain't paying $6 for a 16-ounce drink.
No, but I'll pay $4 for 2 of them.
No, they won't. That's the problem. They'll lose customers. Customers don't.
I'll start smuggling my own shit in.
Yeah, it's a value of perception. Nobody's going to go. The majority of people are not going to go in and buy 2 of something. They think they should get all that value in 1. And if they can only get 16 ounces, they're going to start bringing pop in, just like they do with candy, because that's too overpriced.
Move on.
Let's move on to free America. Let's go to the home mill, Scotty.
All right, for the home mill, we all like movie news, but every once in a while something's worth mentioning, even if it isn't completely confirmed or just might be an informed rumor. So remember, when we talk about these items, they're not necessarily done deals, just rumors. We got one this week with the recent adaptations in the works of 80s shows Alf and Smurfs. Sony has bought the movie rights to the short-lived series Manimal to be turned into a live-action CG flick. What 80s shows should be revived? What do you guys think?
Well, first, Manimal. Awesome. Guy turns into an animal. Awesome.
If anybody out there listening hasn't seen the intro to this show, you got to watch it. It's fantastic.
It's one of the worst.
Terrible.
It's one of the worst shows of the 1980s ever.
I actually recently watched a YouTube clip where he was transforming into a panther, and I shit you not, it took a minute and a half for that transformation to be over with. It's like, Jesus Christ. Checking my watch. Is he still going? All right, hold on. Meanwhile, these tigers and lions are just kind of looking on with mild interest, licking at their paws. It's a show that I remember watching when I was a kid, because this year I'll be turning 40. So I grew up with this show and Knight Rider and all those other shows. I did watch it when I was a kid. I enjoyed it, but it's one of those shows that when I come back to it as an adult and try and watch it, it's almost unwatchable. It worked back then, 1, because I was a kid, and 2, there wasn't else shit on. You had 3 channels and you kind of got what you got. Now there is far too much on offer to ever give something like this another watching. But if they were to update it, and cast someone cool in it and not spend a minute and a half on each transformation, it might be more interesting, because the guy could transform into a panther. I think he could do like a falcon, a few other things. So it wasn't just, a werewolf. He could do a lot. And it was an interesting show, but I would much rather see them do something like Automan. I always thought that was a much more interesting show. It's kind of Tron-y. Well, not even kind of. It's very Tron-y in its look, but I found it more of an interesting show, because the whole computer angle and whatnot. Trivia, there was actually 2 episodes, one of Automan, one of Manimal, where you saw the lead actor of the other show in the background. It was kind of like a mini little, not a crossover, but you actually saw the other characters for like a couple of seconds in the background.
I want a Misfits of Science.
Oh, fuck, that'd be awesome. Bring back Courtney Cox.
That
I
was
don't even know what
great.
that is.
What?
What? Well, he's young.
Right.
Everybody should find that and go watch the Manimal opening, because it is so bad. It's awful. The special effects they should have stopped as soon as they realized we can't do it. We can't do it.
What was that show with the about the time traveler? It was a guy and a kid, and they had that looked like a pocket watch or something,
Yeah, it was.
Travelers or Journey or something.
Man, yeah, it was
Quantum
always,
Leap?
I was going to say Quantum Leap originally, yeah. But that's
No,
not
it was
the show.
the guy died.
Voyager, with the Voyager.
Voyager, yeah, because the actor went on to another show where he played a model spy or something. Ended up getting killed on that show, much like Brandon Lee did. It was a blank that just went off and killed
I
him. But
remember that, yeah.
he did this time travel show. It was really kind of cool back in the day.
And there was a really cool show called, I think it was the Highlander, or I don't remember what it was, but it was a guy that drove a truck, and that crazy Australian guy Jacko was in it. If anybody can remember what the
Highwayman.
Highwayman, yeah, I like that show a lot. And I also like Sunny Spoon. If you ever saw that one, that was one of my favorites in the 80s.
No,
Mario
I don't know
Van
what that one
Peebles.
is.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Did you ever see Phoenix?
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, with the guy who was on Star Trek 2?
Of course, he was on a Star Trek movie.
Yeah, blonde guy with the medallion. Yeah, that was a cool show when I was.
It was. I remember the medallion was really cool.
Yeah.
Welcome to Brian's Trailer Park. All right, as if we haven't had enough in the past, the Texas Chainsaw franchise is back this January. This time, you guessed it, it's in 3D. You see that? I just poked my finger in your face. Unless you got your earbuds in, then I probably just stuck my finger in your ear.
It tickled.
Anyway, this time around, it's about a girl named Heather who inherits a house in the country. Her and her predictable group of friends, the hottie, the token black guy, the jock, the stoner, they all go with her, and they all have to fend off the Husqvarna happy Leatherface. Who is up for some chainsaws all up in their grill?
Crickets.
It looks awful. It really does.
Completely not necessary. It's same old formula, nothing fresh. You know what this movie does make me want to do is go rewatch Cabin in the Woods.
I did that last night.
I mean,
Fair enough.
Just nothing looks interesting at all.
The franchise is done. I mean, it's not like now. Granted, I'm a fan of Friday the 13th, so I'll always be okay with that. But at least it makes sense to me. This just seems like it's one crazy guy in the same house. Don't go to that neighborhood. That just seems pretty practical. By this point, it's kind of like
The word would get around.
You think people would know. This particular house is bad news. Don't knock on the door. Don't go hang out in the shed. And
Don't even drive down the road that gets within 10 miles of this house.
Yes. They should have a sign that says basically, if you come down this road, your car's going to break down. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And there's no maintenance within 100 miles of here.
Now, I will say I really did like the last one that was produced by Michael Bay's company.
Oh, the remake?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least it had Jessica Biel in a, tight white shirt.
Well, the one shot where the kid's head was blown up or had a hole shot through it,
Okay.
and the camera backs out from the front of it through the back of it, was awesome.
And I believe down here in the South, it's blowed up.
It got all blowed up in that.
It got done blowed up. And by the way, they had a sequel to that one called The Beginning, which was awful. Just awful. So this franchise is just done. Just kill it. Put a chainsaw in it. It's
Which
done.
one had Matthew McConaughey in it?
That's The Beginning. That's
And it wasn't Renee Zellweger in it too?
Renee Zellweger was in it, yeah.
All right. Well, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D will be cutting its way into theaters on January 4th, 2013. You see what I did there? You got that? Cutting.
We got it. Right in my ear. We got it.
Now you sound
All
like
right.
a pig.
All right, but if you're the type of cinephile that likes to see as many of the Oscar-nominated films as you can before the awards are given out, then mark your calendars for November 16th. The movie is Lincoln. It's a biopic about the 16th President of the United States and is directed by Steven Spielberg. Daniel Day-Lewis portrays the president and leads an ensemble cast of Sally Field, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tommy Lee Jones, Jackie Earle Haley, and I can't believe they've got so many people with 3 names. That just hit me. Sorry. To me, this looks absolutely just epic. Mm-hmm. And, I know Spielberg actually said it's not going to be so visually heavy as some of his past big movies, but I got to say, this thing looks pretty good because watching Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln, I really saw Lincoln and not so much Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't know about you guys.
It's missing vampires.
I didn't see a single vampire get killed.
Exactly.
This is bullshit.
It's like they're trying to cover the truth, and I
I
don't
know.
appreciate it. It looks...
Some left-wing propaganda shit.
Oh, man. I like it. I wasn't blown away by it. I wasn't moved by it. It just... maybe I saw Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter too soon, but the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, it's not as cool. I don't see slow motion axes swinging around. I don't know, but I'm watching it, and the whole thing. It's everything Oscar bait should be. It's sweeping. It's epic. It's wonderful actors, and you can tell that they're chewing the scenery. And I was kind of bored. I didn't get moved as much as Brian did, and I love the story of Abraham Lincoln, like the real story, not the stupid vampire story. So I really want to see the movie.
Stupid.
I really want to see the movie. It's just this trailer didn't really move me. But I do agree with Brian that I think Day-Lewis nails Lincoln.
Did you guys think that Sally Field and Tommy Lee Jones looked a little out of place, or am I alone on that? I don't know. Seeing them in that period just didn't seem to work for me.
He looked weird. He had a weird hairpiece.
Yeah, I mean, Sally Field, I could do a little bit, but Tommy Lee Jones just looked really like he didn't belong there.
Like he's still looking for aliens? Crap, I'm in the wrong movie.
All right. Well, if there's anything that you want us to weigh in on, send us an email at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. You can reach us a few other ways also. Our Twitter handle is @H_outsider. And you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thehollywoodoutsider, where you can post comments, questions, and catch some interesting news and other stuff that we post. Just don't forget, you can also get your official I'm a Ho t-shirts at thehollywoodoutsider.com.
Stump the Hoe.
Stump the Hoe. Each week, one of our hosts poses a trivia question to the remaining hosts in an attempt to stump their fellow hoes. Hoes meaning Hollywood outsiders. This week, it's Scotty's turn. What's your question?
We're going to be talking about Looper, which is a movie that I'm really looking forward to coming up here in the next couple of weeks. That movie stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was also starred in one of my favorite films, Inception, who was set to play the character of Arthur in the movie Inception before Joseph Gordon-Levitt got the part.
Okay.
Was it A, Wes Bentley, B, Justin Long, C, Topher Grace, or D, James Franco?
I'll go with Franco.
Franco? How about you, Justin?
Yeah, I'm going to go Franco as well. That was my first gut instinct.
Okay.
I'll go with Justin Long,
Justin Long.
Okay.
just to be different.
All right.
All right.
Well, we'll learn what the answer to the question is a little later in the show, so stick around. Let's go to the big screen where we review any recent releases. First up is Resident Evil Retribution 3D. Justin?
This film follows Mila Jovovich as we follow up immediately from the ending of the fourth film, where her and the crew and the people aboard this freighter are attacked by umbrella forces. She gets knocked off the boat, knocked unconscious, wakes up, and then there's this whole moment of she's this housewife and she's got a deaf daughter, and all of a sudden monsters attack, and then that ends and she's on the floor of an umbrella facility where she was captured after the freighter blew up. They're trying to get her back to who she used to be. To really try and go in depth on this sort of story is ridiculous. Because really, of all of them, this one is the most video game-like of them all. Mm-hmm. Because it has specific, almost like level locations. You've got your Moscow location, you've got a New York location. And so all of these areas kind of act like maps on a hub. When they're showing these CGI wireframe models of this umbrella facility, it looks almost like a video game map that you would pull up. So of all the films, this comes, I think, the closest to matching how the games run and how they feel. So, Aaron, were you and I the only two who saw this
Yeah, it's just
piece
you
of
and I.
wizardry?
Just you and I. And the story I agree with completely. I think the whole plot, or if you want to call it a plot, is Alice is at the bottom of an underground compound. She needs to get to the top. And she has to fight her way through various, like Justin was talking about, simulated environments. But that's it. Everything's an excuse to shoot shit.
Yes.
The story could have used a few more clever scenarios and zombies, a little less shooting everything in sight. But outside of that, that is the plot. That's the entire story. This series is not about the story. It hasn't been for a very long time.
Yet,
That's so sad.
absurdly, the story, as bad as it is kind of intricate. There are lots of elements from the first film, the second film, the third, and the fourth that flow right into this. There are a lot of criticisms that I think you can level against Paul W.S. Anderson, who has directed and written all of these films. These are pretty stupid and they're pretty silly, but he does not make throwaway. I mean, he didn't just crank this out of his butt and throw it up on a screen. There is money that went into making these films. Everybody involved worked hard. You can tell by watching these people go. They put effort the director and writer put in effort. There is actual effort involved in putting this out. So it's not a lazy film. It's just not very good, but they definitely tried hard. And as much as I was bored occasionally, there were also moments where I was like, damn, that is cool.
I will tell you, Mila Jovovich. Hey, I said her name right. She this there like just going to some of the acting, because you really can't talk about the acting too much except for Mila and Michelle Rodriguez. Those are the only two things that matter in this movie. I don't know why she's had so little success outside of this series, but she's got so much charisma, and she seems when she's, even though it's all choreography and it's very calibrated, it's very articulate. She does a great job making it look like she could beat the shit out of you and then shoot your face off. She's perfect in the role. Michelle Rodriguez, I was so happy to see her back, because she actually plays kind of like two kinds of characters in the film. One's very much an everyday person, and one's very much Michelle Rodriguez. I'm gonna kick your ass. Both of them, and it's hard because usually when we do reviews, we try to get more intricate and more involved, and this is why the story works. This is why this is not a movie that has anything. Who cares? None of this matters. All that matters is the production, what it looks like. The series is about gunfights and zombie kills. That's it. And for what it's aiming for, to me personally, it nails it. I believe when we review a film, we should be reviewing what the movie is trying to do, as opposed to basically making the same.
What we wanted it to do, or something like that.
And what it's trying to do is be a guilty pleasure, and for that, it succeeds. I mean, it's dumb, it's stupid, it nails shooting zombies and very clever gunfights, finding unique ways to do stuff. I don't know, Justin, what's your favorite part of the movie? I mean, what about it made you the most excited?
Well, the fan of the franchise, of the game franchise, was really tickled to see Ada Wong show up, to see Leon Kennedy show up. There's definite fan service in this film. They really do pack it pretty full. I mean, Jill Valentine, if you saw the fourth film, you saw her reappear at the end of that movie with one of that control module on her, between her, breasts, and this cleavage exposing outfit. So Jill Valentine showing back up. I like those little moments. There's all sorts of little things that they put in it that if you're they say Las Plagas. So if you played the fourth game, you know what they're talking about there. But they completely retweaked it to make it the film version of it. There's almost nothing left of the game. It's just more character names and stuff like that. But for me, I think the most interesting part of it was that when this deaf girl showed up early on, I anticipated her story being over with pretty quick. It wasn't over with. And in fact, Mila Jovovich and her Jovovich, or however Aaron pronounced it, have quite a bit of interaction towards the middle and end of the film. My immediate reaction was to go, "Oh God, ditch the kid. This is really going to suck." I found it actually oddly touching. Her reaction to this child was touching, and I didn't hate it. And I actually saw her protecting of this child. It made some sense in the weird fucked upness that is the universe of this franchise. That relationship and her reaction to it made sense, and it worked. But for me, the first fight scene with her and the chain and the gun was probably my favorite fight scene in the whole film, because what she does with that chain is pretty fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
In a cool way. There are some bad performances in this movie, though. Wesker, I don't know who they hired for this guy. He is so overblown and overdone, it's ridiculous. And I don't know what happened to the woman who's playing Jill Valentine. In the second film, I thought she did a really good job. But in this one, it was more like she should have been on the set of a soap opera.
Yeah.
Really kind of ridiculous. But Michelle Rodriguez, I thought she did a really good job. And she's one of those actresses that so many people love to hate. And again, I don't get it. I think she's kind of fun and interesting. She always kind of plays Michelle Rodriguez, but at least she's having a good time. But my favorite moments were probably with Mila and the girl, surprisingly enough.
I really did miss Ali Larder. She was...
No, I didn't either.
And Wentworth Miller, I did miss. I really liked Wentworth Miller.
Did he die?
No, he didn't die. I guess in
Wrong
Prison
one.
Break he might have. But he popped up in the last movie as
Right.
whatever it was.
He was Chris Redfield.
Yes, Chris Redfield. And I thought he was great. I liked his charisma and his intensity and stuff, and I thought he was a good addition. And then he's not
Apparently,
even,
they all died on that freighter.
apparently. My two favorite parts are the beginning and the end. I love how the movie ends because it obviously sets it up for the next one.
Right.
But the beginning is one of the one of the coolest openings I've seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I guess I can explain it. Basically, they take the events that happen in the first 5 minutes. You actually see them unfold in reverse, and then
Very slow.
very, very slow motion, and then they happen in real time forward. It sounds like idiotic, but it works so cool. Just very cool because you know that this particular action scene's coming up, and you're like, oh, and then it just works.
It reminded me just a little bit of that trailer for
Dead Island.
Dead Island. Yeah. I didn't have that backwards, forwards things, which that trailer had, but the whole reversing slow and then going forward, it did. And it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if, these are both two different zombie franchises, if Paul Anderson wasn't influenced by that a little bit. But yeah, the ending of this film is how they've ended just about every one of these movies.
It does.
Where you pull back to a huge scene of, oh shit, that's going to lead right into the next film, which Anderson has said that if this film makes enough money, then they will do one final film to end this franchise. And actually, I kind of hope they do because we're 5 in now. Fuck it, let's go, let's finish it.
So, what's your final verdict?
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I completely recognize that it is not a quote unquote good film. There are so many elements to it that were laughable, but I do think most of the people involved really gave it their all. I enjoyed it. I came out of the theater going, yeah, I'm glad I did that. So I would give this a 7.
Wow. I think the movie is stupid, ridiculous, physically impossible, by the way. Ludicrous, but it's fun to watch. I went with my daughter. We had a really good time. As long as you know what you're getting into when you go to the movie, it's exactly what you expect. If you're looking for anything that's deep, or you want emotional resonance with the characters, or you want this story to really go somewhere, you should see anything else because it has none of that. Except for I do like her and the little girl, but I think Mila kicks ass, and even if the story didn't go anywhere, I give it 6.5 out of 10 because I had fun. And Scotty went and saw Finding Nemo in 3D.
I did. Not too much to say about a movie that's this old, but I had a lot of fun going to see this one. I was a little disappointed because I was expecting to be in IMAX for some reason. I didn't know it was just 3D, not IMAX. That one is begging to be in high definition, and I really can't wait to see what that looks like on Blu-ray. But movie still holds up. It's 9 years old. It's
Does the shark win this time?
no story elements were changed in the 3D
That's
version.
ridiculous.
Fish are friends, not food.
The movie's so good. It's just really well written. The voice acting is fantastic. The 3D wasn't distracting. It's nothing coming out at you. It was just adding more depth, like I want 3D to do. I've loved this movie since I saw it in the theater 9 years ago. And
Does the 3D add to it a lot, or not really?
not a lot. I mean, it's you know how like when you see a 3D movie and the novelty wears off after about 10 minutes. I mean, it's something that with this one, I feel like you would notice if it were gone.
Okay.
But you're not like so absorbed into it throughout the whole movie. But it really feels like you can reach out and touch the water, that kind of thing. I, unlike Justin, actually enjoy going to see it with a bunch of kids in the theater. I like kids. They're some of these kids have never seen it before. Some of them have grown up watching it. And so when Dory is singing her little song about just keep swimming, they're singing along with it. That was kind of cool to me. There was no rambunctiousness or anything, but it was just cute.
Okay.
So recommend it.
What do you give it?
I give it a 10 out of 10, man. That's
Wow.
that's a perfect movie to me. I
Aw.
can't find any
Scott's getting
fault
a little
with it.
teary-eyed right now.
I can't find any fault with Finding Nemo. I love that movie.
I can find a fault.
It's
The
not my
shark-
favorite Pixar, but it's up there.
Yeah.
The shark doesn't win. I want the shark to win. It just seems right.
Well,
It's because you're a hater.
I just
You
don't
want
like.
to see fish die.
You know what? If the child runs away, he's on his own. That's all I'm saying. Stupid ass.
really?
Okay, he ran away. He's on his own accord. Accept some responsibility. You get eaten. Sometimes it happens. I saw The Tall Man. Comes out on Blu-ray DVD on September 25th. It's Jessica Biel stars as Julia Denning. She's a recently widowed nurse who cares for the poor people of Cold Rock. The town, it's been hit hard in recent times by economics, but mostly by the tall man. That's how deep and scary they try to play
I
it.
keep waiting for you to slip into a voice.
I can't do Jessica Biel very well, but I'll try. Well, the tall man's basically, it's a figure that these townsfolk have determined are the reason that children have been kidnapped in Cold Rock over the last couple of years. So many children, like 20 or something, have been kidnapped over the last several years because the town's been hit by economic hard times. So when Julia's child comes under attack, she has to fight back. That's basically the setup for the movie. Now, this is a really surprisingly twisty film. I thought it was pretty cut and dry, just a thriller where she's going to be chasing a kid, she's going to find this tall man, and it's going to be a fight to the death kind of thing. It's not the kind of movie it is at all. And I got to be honest, the first 45 minutes, and this movie's going straight to DVD, first 45 minutes were among the best of any thriller I've seen in recent memory.
Really?
Just
Wow.
it was relentless. The first 45 minutes were intense and relentless. There comes a point when the kind of movie it is changes, and I can't really explain what that is without spoiling it, which I won't do. But just know that I love the first half of the movie, and I just kind of like the second half. It's one of those movies where it puts so much out there in that first 45 minutes that it's really hard to maintain that momentum. Jessica Biel actually convinced me of her plight. I think she seemed like a woman that just would not give up. She would not give up, and just what she goes through, I just thought was great. They set this up so well. I just did not like the payoff. I really liked the large part of the story. I liked how the townsfolk created this urban legend, and they all were so afraid of the tall man, and they were petrified of this figure that they had no idea what it really represented or anything else. I don't know, but the resolution was just okay. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't what I wanted. Does that make sense to you guys? Mm-hmm. So overall, I give the film a 6 out of 10. If it would have kept up that relentless energy, I would have jacked it up a lot higher. But seriously, the first 45 minutes, if you feel like renting something that you haven't seen before and you don't know much about, pick this up. Just watch the first half of it, if anything. I mean, watch the whole movie, but watch the first half of it, because it does go in a different direction than the trailer leads you to believe. So that's The Tall Man. Scott, you saw what to expect when you're expecting.
I did. Needed a date movie with the wife to watch at home, so we picked up.
You watched a pregnancy movie?
Come on. This movie has a formula or the makings of a movie that I always like. Big cast, multiple stories that kind of converge at the end. This one centers around several different couples and what happens to them around pregnancy. What's interesting is that they all have different aspects of it. One couple is trying to get pregnant. One couple is adopting. One couple has some tragic things that happen in their pregnancy. It's like different takes about all this, but they also throw a comedic role in throughout the whole thing. The stories connect at the end. This is just really kind of a forgettable movie. It's one of those one and done kind of things that especially made a pretty funny trailer, or made like a mediocre trailer, I guess, but didn't deliver on too many laughs.
It didn't deliver.
It didn't.
Dun-dun-dun.
See what I did there? I don't know. It's one of those that is worth a watch, but just if you got nothing else to watch, which is why I rented it, because there was nothing else to see this weekend. So it's just a waste of a really good cast. I don't know. I gave it a 4 out of 10.
Isn't Dennis Quaid in it?
Dennis Quaid is in it. He was the only one of the redeeming qualities, and I'm not just blowing air in here, but his character was pretty funny. He plays an old retired NASCAR driver that's married to and knocked up a girl that's about his son's age.
That's because he's Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is some pretty funny stuff between him and his son, and the competitiveness, because they're both going to be fathers, and it's entertaining, but not enough to give it higher than a 4.
All right.
We're going to have to name redact that motherfucker.
Okay, let's go to box office real quick. Resident Evil Retribution opened at $21 million. That's lower than the last couple Resident Evils, but overseas, it had the biggest opening. It was like $50 million overseas. This series thrives internationally. They don't really care how much it makes here. They only care what it makes overseas. So it's probably going to make more than the last movie, which means you will probably get your 6th one, Justin.
Woot!
Finding Nemo opened to 16.6 million. It's a reissue, so that's not bad. But Lion King came out the same weekend last year and made twice as much. So I don't know how many more of these you're going to get. But outside of that, it's pretty standard. The Possession is holding steady. It made 5.7 million. It's got 41 million. And it should end up with about 50 million. So Possession's actually a hit.
All right, guys, we have got 3 films we're going to be talking about this week, all of them opening on September 28th. The first one is Hotel Transylvania. This is a 3D computer animated comedy directed by Genndy Tartakovsky. Some of you might know him. He's the creator of Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, and something I've never heard of called The Symbionic Titan. He was also involved in the hand-animated version of The Clone Wars. And this features the voices of Adam Sandler, Selena Gomez, Andy Samberg, Kevin James, Fran Drescher, John Lovitz, blah, 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 blah. Dracula, voiced by Adam Sandler, is the owner of a Hotel Transylvania, a 5-star resort for the world's monsters to get away from it all. You know, when you want to let your hair down. Dracula invites some of the world's most famous monsters to celebrate the 118th birthday of his daughter Mavis, voiced by Selena Gomez. When Hotel Transylvania is unexpectedly visited by an ordinary young traveler named Jonathan, Andy Samberg's character, Dracula must protect and rescue Mavis from falling in love with him before it's too late. God, does that sound terrible? But it could make for good kid bait. So, Aaron, is this going to be your next lure of choice?
No, because I don't want to go to that one, because it seems like they aren't the bright kids if they go to that one. It just sounds like it's a family movie dumped in September. Finding Nemo is one thing because people are familiar with that franchise. Dumping this movie in September basically means that they don't believe in it, which means it's not going to be that great a movie. From what I've experienced. Usually good quality family movies, they will be in the holiday season or they'll be in the summer season, maybe early spring. But in September, it's a shit movie. Sorry. Nope. No desire.
Anybody else got any desire to see this Drac?
No.
Drac? No.
I see what you did there.
The trailer. I saw the trailer when I saw Finding Nemo, and it came on right after a promo for Despicable Me 2, which was just a bad idea. If you want to sell that movie, don't put it after a good animated film.
And plus, if you saw 8 Crazy Nights, you don't really want to see the next animation that Adam Sandler is involved in. So, skip it.
This movie just looks crap. All right, moving on. Next film is Won't Back Down. Oh. Previously titled Still I Rise, Learning to Fly, and Steel Town. Hey, Learning to Fly, that's a Pearl Jam song. This one's a drama directed by Daniel Barnes and starring Maggie Gyllenhaal, Viola Davis, and Holly Hunter. 2 determined mothers, one a bartender, it's Gyllenhaal's character, and the other a teacher, played by Davis, look to transform their children's failing inner-city school. Facing a powerful and entrenched bureaucracy and corruption within the teachers' union president, Holly Hunter, and the school's principal, Ving Rhames, they risk everything to make a difference in the education and future of their children. Now, Scotty, as a wannabe teacher, are you ready to make a difference too? Are you going to stand your ground, Tom Petty style?
I won't back down. Nice. I knew I'd be the easy target for this one. This is one I definitely want to see, but it's not at the top of my list right now. It's something I'm going to rush out to see. I really wanted to see the Adrian Brody one, and I didn't see that either. Apparently, I'm not as excited about these teacher films as I thought I was going to be, but I don't know. There's something about going in and raising hell as a teacher or as a parent. I don't know. Her character in the trailer just rubs me the wrong way a little bit. I don't know why. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going in and making a difference, but her character just seems to be going about it with not the right
condescending attitude.
Yeah, not the right approach. It's like
what approach is correct?
I don't know.
She's trying to make a difference, Scott. She's trying to change the world. You can't change the world quietly. You gotta be loud, rambunctious.
I don't know.
Gotta break some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looks like a great story, but this just doesn't grab me to where I've got to rush out to the movies and see it.
Exactly.
I kind of agree, but I do want to see it. I love inspirational stories like this. This is just my cup of tea. Believe it or not, I hope for the youth of America. And there's a lot of dumb ones right now. So anything they can do to change that, I'm all for.
All right. Well, unless it's got Robin Williams playing an English professor, I got no fucking interest. So we'll move on. Last film we're going to talk about is Looper. Looper's a science fiction film written and directed by Ryan Johnson. The film stars Bruce Willis, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Emily Blunt. In 2042, a 25-year-old assassin named Joseph Simmons, played by Gordon-Levitt, works for a mafia company in Kansas City as a looper. Loopers kill and dispose of agents sent by their employers from corporate headquarters in Shanghai from the year 2072. Loopers are not foot soldiers, and they're paid on the condition that all targets must never escape. When Simmons recognizes his target as a future version of himself, played by Willis, his older self escapes after incapacitating him. The failure of his job causes his employers to come after him, forcing him to fight for his life as he hunts his older self. Interestingly enough, the role for Simmons was always meant for Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but when when Bruce Willis took the job as the older version of him, he didn't look enough like Willis, and so the job was in jeopardy, but they were able to put enough prosthetics on his face to make him look more like Willis, and he got the role back. Brian, are you ready to go out and do the time warp again?
Yeah, he actually had to sit down for, 3 hours every day.
Just to look more like a Goomba.
Yep. This one out of the three is the most appealing to me, but the closer we get, the more scared I am about it.
Why?
Because we're being just constantly blitzed by commercials for this movie. Mm-hmm. And just from my personal experience, the more we're hammered with commercials and stuff, for a movie, the worse the movie is. It's like they keep hammering it because they know it's not going to get a whole lot of word of mouth, so they just kind of, like I said, they just blitz you with all these commercials and previews to get you in that first weekend, because they know that once that first weekend's over, you won't be recommending to your friends, to go see it the next weekend. So I've got high hopes for this. I like the idea of it. I like the actors. I'm just cautiously optimistic, though.
See, I feel just the opposite. When I first saw this trailer, I was a little mediocre on it. I was another time travel movie. Concept seems kind of clever, but I was meh, whatever. And the more I see this, the more I'm getting excited about this, and it looks awesome. The way they've got him looking like Bruce Willis, even their mannerisms are looking like he's really trying to look like Bruce Willis. I think it looks really kind of a fresh idea on time travel that I haven't seen, at least in this format.
See, and as far as his prosthetics and all that stuff, mm-hmm. There are times where he looks nothing like Bruce. He looks just like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And then there's times where he looks like probably 4 or 5 different people through the course of the preview.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think
it doesn't seem consistent, good or bad. It just doesn't seem consistent.
Yeah, it takes me out of it. And I really think this is the kind of thing where, trust me as an audience member, you don't need to put prosthetics. I don't need to envision him as a young Bruce Willis. Just tell me he's young Bruce Willis. I'll ride with you. Mm-hmm. Yep. You don't need to make his hairline and all this other crap that they're trying to do. I think it's very distracting. I don't agree with Brian and I don't agree with Scott. I think it looks interesting, but I've said it before in the show, and I'll say it every chance I can. Time travel concerns me because very, very rarely do they get it right, or do they make sense out of it. So it's hard for me to watch it because, I'll see so many things that just don't make logical sense that it'll just take me out of the movie. But I want to see it because the concept is interesting. It seems like they're trying for a fresh take on time travel, and they're trying to make it something different. I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'm interested, if that makes sense.
Yeah, when I first saw the trailer for this, I was instantly interested in it. Premium Rush aside, Joseph Gordon-Levitt gives me a sense that a film is going to be good. Between Brick, between Inception, I think this guy's got some real chops. The film looks really, really interesting. Not every time travel movie can be Time Cop. They cannot be that good.
I agree.
But the premise of having to hunt your future self is so fucking interesting. Yeah. I want to see what they do with it. But I do completely agree with you, Aaron. They didn't need to do anything to him. Just like you said, tell me that's the young you. Fine, good. I'm running with you. You don't have to sell me that hard. Brian, I would have agreed with you in years past, but I think this year, because the box office takes have been so abysmal, I think studios are trying to do everything they can to get one more ass in a theater seat. And if that means they spend extra money to hammer you over the head with trailers and commercials, then that's what they're going to do. I think they're desperate. I think they're scrambling, and over advertising is probably a part of that, unfortunately, for people like you, or those people who just, the more you tell someone to like it, they're going to dislike it that much more. That doesn't work for them. It looks really cool, but I want to get your guys' take. So of these three films, Hotel Transylvania, Won't Back Down, and Looper, which of these three are you guys most likely to go into the theater and see opening weekend? Brian, why don't you go first since I called on you last?
I'm going to go with Looper.
Scotty?
Easy answer, Looper, by far.
And Aaron?
I have no desire to see Hotel Transylvania, and I won't back down on that, so I'll say Looper. You're welcome.
All right, dude. We're going to make it a clean sweep. All four of us, Looper.
All
there
right.
you go.
What's this movie?
What's this movie? Each week we play ours or our listener suggested clip from a movie, and if you think you know what the clip is, you email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com or send us a direct message on Twitter at @H_outsider, and we will announce those that got it correct in the air. As well as we will draw a name from those that guessed correctly and send them an official I'm a Whole Hollywood Outsider t-shirt. Last week's answer was Scott's choice, and it was L.A. Confidential. Jessie actually entered, and she entered the week before because we taped early, so she's still in the drawing. And Chantel R. got it right. So the winner of this week's is Chantel. So congratulations, you win a I'm a Ho t-shirt. You will get that. I'll get in touch with you and find out where you live. This week, it is Justin's clip. So if you think you know what the clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com or send us a message on H_ at Twitter. And of those that guessed correctly, we'll draw for the winners next week for a free host shirt. Here's your clip.
Watch them fly. Away.
You guys know what that song's about? It's about aliens. We're the aliens, man. We're the savages. We're the savages.
Wait, man, that song's about that.
Okay, now it's time for TV and home video news. First things first, Freddie Highmore, he was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory from a couple years ago, was cast as the young Norman Bates in the A&E prequel series Bates Motel.
Yeah, I wasn't overly enamored with him, and then again, that movie just really didn't overly enamor me a whole lot anyway. He's kind of got that, looks like he could pull off that unassuming kind of sweet guy, but also the kind of guy that would light a cat's tail on fire, drop him in a bag, and dump him in a river, you know?
All right, somebody's got some issues.
So, no, I'm not, I mean, sure, I've got mine, but not those kinds of issues. I'm just not sold on the network. I just haven't seen much that A&E has done that I've liked. I do like some of the talent. I do like some of the stuff that I've heard about it so far. I just have to wait and see about it. I mean, this signing of him, it doesn't really kind of make me want to set my DVR for it, though.
Me either, sir. One of our listeners sent in an email, and he said, "Love the show, fellas. Took me long enough to find it. That Macumber guy should have pimped it more in his show." I agree. Wanted to make sure you guys saw this. It's basically an article that he linked to us, asking the question: is TV better than movies now? A lot of people seem to think that television is better than movies. Aloha Boys, John M. What do you think about it?
In the article, he does a lot of talking about the machinations of movie studios and how they go about deciding what movie they're going to put through and what movie they're not, and how it's become really kind of not just complicated, but it's also become more and more and more every day about what movie is going to make us money and what's not. You know, they don't give a shit about art. They give a shit about money. And while on the one hand I hate that, on the other hand I completely understand it, because they're not in the business of making art. They're in the business of making money. Now, if they can do both, great. Personally, I think a lot of it's got to do with the fact that TV, especially with the expansion of cable and channels like AMC and FX, writers are able to do more interesting things that you can't just do in a 2 hour. Breaking Bad or Sons of Anarchy or Mad Men or Walking Dead. These are shows that really need some room to breathe and tell a full story. Movies can't do it. But now that you're not as censored and you can get away with more things, I think they're able to bring some of the things that movies used to have on their side, language, nudity, violence, bring it to a longer form, and people are responding. What's interesting, though, and I'll be done after this. A lot of these shows that really take off are also genre shows. Mm-hmm. Genre shows are followed by people who are impassioned people who go to Comic-Con, people who go to Dragon Con. Guys like us will watch these shows and be excited about these shows and talk about these shows. I don't know if a lot of your other more standard TV fare gets that kind of an audience because we're not as interested. The only downside is Firefly. As much as we loved it, Fox killed it anyway, and there's more for that. But anyway, there you go.
I agree with you. I think the writers seem to be gravitating more toward television because they have more time to tell the story they want to tell, as opposed to movies where it's becoming more and more big budget, special effects, less characters. Films in the past, you've had huge box office hits over, like Rain Man. That's very much a character study. I don't know if that movie would get made today, at least not with the same pedigree. So, you take it to television where you can tell, like The Walking Dead would just be Dawn of the Dead if you made a movie out of it. Mm-hmm. Where on the small screen, you've got 12, 13, 16 episodes, whatever it is, to tell that long character arc. You can learn to appreciate the characters. You fall for these characters relationship-wise. And then when one of them is killed, you actually feel emotional heft. Whereas if it was a movie, you like them, but you didn't really know much about them to really feel anything for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you sit down in that theater, you know that 3 out of these 4 people are dying.
Right.
I think there's something to be said about the episodic nature of it too, kind of along what you said. With you feel more emotionally invested, but it gets you involved in the show on a longer scale. You can sit down in a 2-hour movie and that was fun. Mm-hmm. That was a good movie, but then maybe never think about it again. By putting it over a 13 or even 24-week season, you're more invested. You're in it for the long haul. It's not as disposable as a movie can be. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of movie series like trilogies or quadrilogies, whatever, because they get you coming back for more. But you've always got to wait 2 or 3 or more years to wait for more. Whereas with a TV series, you can get a big chunk of them over a long period of time, and then maybe wait one more season to get more. Mm-hmm.
And the studios are really kind of seeing. I think they're almost adapting that series type of mentality when they're making these larger blockbuster movies like Lord of the Rings. They're saying, "Hey, look, let's just hammer these out. We'll film nonstop for a couple of years or so, and then we'll release these movies one year after the other because it's very much like a lot of these TV shows. They're coming out once a year granted they're coming out 8 to 10, 12, 20 episodes at a time, but they are coming out once a year. And go ahead.
Well, the fact that these cable channels are able to do shorter seasons, I think is also a big bonus in 2 ways. In the first way, it's because now these writers don't have to artificially inflate storylines to last 20 to 24 episodes. They can just do 10 or 12, and that way you can keep your story much tighter and much better. But 2, because they're a shorter season, you've got a little longer to wait between seasons, and so your appetite is a little more whet. So that when the new season rolls around, you're like, oh my God, I feel like I've been waiting a year for this. Let's go. You're much more excited when those seasons come back around as opposed to something that ended 4 or 5 months ago. But it's interesting what you guys are saying, though, about the episodic nature. I think that's what's helped Marvel have such success with their movies. Even though it's not a new Iron Man every year, there's been pretty much a new Marvel movie every year or less than a year to constantly keep the fanboys and
Right.
just regular fan people
And it may not
excited.
be exactly, it may not be that same character, but by the end of that movie, or at least by the end of those credits, there's going to be some sort of a tie-in to the next one, or some sort of tie-in from the previous stuff. So in a sense, it really, like I say, it really is kind of like another version of that movie or something.
Yeah, you're just constantly teasing us along, and we know we're not going to have to wait 2 or 3 years for our next bite at the apple. We're constantly getting little bits. It's a fantastic way to do it.
Excellent.
Hey, and real quick, just to go back to my lazy American comment from earlier, movies, the studios have got to convince you to get off your lazy ass, drive to a theater, sit in those German-infested seats, buy overpriced snacks, and then take a chance on a 2-hour movie that they made. Where with TV, all they've got to do is convince you, the viewer, just to sit there and at the least record a show, and then hopefully watch it. And then if you watch 1 or 2 episodes, you like it, you'll probably come back the next week or so and watch the next one. So it's a lot easier to if you've got something that looks interesting, it's a lot easier to get somebody to watch it on TV.
Well, speaking of, Revolution premiered this week. What do you guys think about it? That's basically where the world lost power. The power goes out on the planet, and people are fighting to survive. That's the essential plot of it. What did you guys think of the premiere? I mean, without giving away too much, because some people might not have caught it yet.
And I haven't been able to catch it. I've still got it recorded. I still haven't been able to see it yet.
Brian didn't like it.
I saw it early through Hulu, and I enjoyed it. Not as much as I would like yet, but there was enough there to get me interested. I'll keep watching it. I'm hoping that they don't borrow too much more from Hunger Games. There's a lot of little looks and things like that kind of make me think, yeah, they watched that movie and think they want to try and draw that audience over. Not great, but it's just a pilot episode. These things usually aren't amazing from word one. Good enough. I'll definitely keep watching it.
I was impressed with some of the action sequences in it, actually, for a television show.
Yeah, there's a sword fight in it that's
and
really good.
That was really well done. I wasn't as blown away as I wanted to be, but again, I went into it kind of overhyped. This is one of the more anticipated shows I've been looking forward to. I felt the cliffhanger was pretty satisfying. I'm very curious to see where they're going with it. I just worry that that it's not gonna last. But a lot of people are talking about it on Facebook and Twitter and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that it's creating a buzz. I just got to see a few more episodes to really get hooked. So we'll see what happens.
I thought it was okay. I hated the cliffhanger because it totally rips off one of my favorite shows. If you ever saw Jericho, I can't tell you what it is because it'll obviously spoil it. But there's something that happens that's completely ripped off of Jericho, and that kind of really, like, I was starting to, I'll look forward to the next episode. Then that happened. I'm like, seriously, really, that happened, really. But overall, it was interesting enough to where I've seen enough television shows to know that I don't base everything on the pilot. I like the concept. I don't like the girl that's playing the 16-year-old Katniss character. Yeah. But outside of that, it has good potential. The show has good potential.
The one guy getting hit by the arrow and flying back as though he just got shot by a cannon.
Yes.
That was the one moment where I was like, oh my God, they did not just do that.
Also,
Yes.
Where did the guy get ice that he put in his drink?
I don't know.
Did that?
Good question. Hey, you know what?
I didn't even think about
They
that.
did have ice cream before freezers, so you can make it. It's been around for a long time.
I understand that, but how do you make?
Maybe
ice?
that's going to maybe it's going to come later. Maybe he's got a freezer in the back, and the whole thing's a hoax.
For some reason, I didn't
Like landing on the moon.
I didn't know Gus was in this movie.
Maybe Jax Teller
Or
could
TV show.
explain that.
Yeah, Jax Teller, who's on Sons of Anarchy, which has had a couple episodes so far. What do you guys think, and real briefly, so far of the season so far? I think intense as shit.
Man, Ron Perlman is jacked up. Such a departure for his character from the previous seasons. He's always been, kind of like that angry Papa Lion that you don't want to, aggravate too much. And he's been brought low. And Gemma, she's a little off too. But I like Jimmy Smits. He's a really interesting addition to the show. It's good. I really like it. It's brutal. People, I think, aren't watching this show because they think what could possibly be interesting about a motorcycle gang. People, I thought the same thing. I learned better. Watch it. It is tight.
Yeah, definitely. The last season was very intense, and this one just picks up right where it left off. So
They have
we're off to a great start.
no spoilers, but they have there's a character where they have to watch something horrible. That's probably one of the most intense scenes I've seen in a long time. I mean, a lot of people hate on it, and I don't see what you see about it. It's basically just a motorcycle club soap opera. That's all it
Nope.
is.
It is good.
DVD and Blu-ray, Scotty.
September 25th, this is what's going to be coming out. First off, name redacted, also known as The Avengers. If you need an explanation on this one, this must be your first time listening to the show, so welcome. Also, Soldiers of Fortune. This stars Christian Slater and Sean Bean, who are there's some wealthy thrill seekers who pay huge premiums to have themselves inserted into military adventures. Only this time things don't go exactly to plan. Also being released this week is The Tall Man, which Aaron previously mentioned. Also, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 1. It's an animated Batman feature with the voice casting of Peter Wellers as well as Michael Emerson. Also, American Horror Story Season 1. Law & Order SVU Season 13. Good Lord, there's 13 seasons
I like
of
that show a lot, man. Makes me feel better about my urges.
And and lastly, Desperate Housewives, the final season.
I want to watch that. I kind of want to see how it ends.
Ooh, yeah. Hit me with that unknown shit. Flashback.
All right, next
Anyway,
we'll move
there
on
you go.
to our flashback DVD or Blu-ray. This is where each week our hosts recommend a little-known or obscure film that we hope you'll give a chance. This week it is Aaron's turn, so Aaron, sell us your movie, sir.
Being that the political climate is getting jacked up right now, amped up, jacked up, whatever you want to call it, I decided to go with a little movie that came out last year that 4 people saw, and that's called Ides of March. It came out last year, stars Brian Williams' favorite actor, Ryan Gosling, who plays a campaign manager for Governor Mike Morris, who's played by everybody's favorite, George Clooney. If he's really not your favorite, you're wrong. He's your favorite. Who's a presidential candidate with new ideas and a true vision. When Ryan Gosling learns a secret on Morris that could change the campaign forever, he has to kind of figure out what kind of person does he really want to be. Because the president, he has a dark secret, or he may or may not have a dark secret. But the intentions that he has for the government are pure. So what Gosling has to try to figure out is, should his campaign and his potential election end because of this issue, or is it worth something to cover up? So it kind of shows you the real behind the scenes of how the political process works, what people do to each other just to try to get elected, et cetera, et cetera. It's got a lot of quality stars, besides the 2 mentioned. Marissa Tomei, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Paul Giamatti. Lots of great people in this movie. It's just a very interesting film, and I do love political films. It's not the best one I've ever seen. I mean, I think The Contender is still my favorite, but I really like it, and if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a look. Real quick, Tommy over at Destination Asphyxiation was nice enough to give us a shout-out, so we'll do the same. Make sure to take a listen to their new podcast at DESTAPH.com. Let's go to the Stump the Hoe answer, Scott. What's the answer? What's the question again?
All right, Loopers. Joseph Gordon-Levitt starred in one of my favorite films, Inception, but was not originally set to play the part of Arthur in that film. Who had the part first, but had to back out due to scheduling conflicts? The choices were A, Wes Bentley, B, Justin Long, C, Topher Grace, or D, James Franco. Brian chose Justin Long, and Aaron and Justin both chose James Franco. The answer was James Franco.
Hey, does that mean Justin and I were correct?
It does.
Okay, I just like hearing that. Okay, and this week on our From the Outside In, we're going to respond to an email from Jessie M. She sent it a couple weeks ago. We just didn't have time to get to it when she sent it originally, so we're going to go to it now. She says, so we had one day recently where there was a hint of fall in the air, i.e. it got into the 60s overnight and immediately shot back into the 90s the next day. But hey, I'll take what I can get. And the first thing I could think of was, well, it's almost time for the annual Lord of the Rings viewing. Every year, without fail, when it starts to get a little chilly and the leaves start to change color, I feel a compulsion to rewatch the extended trilogy. Something about the season makes me crave Middle-earth, just like Halloween makes me crave The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I also watch every year without fail. This made me wonder, do you guys have movies that you revisit at least once a year, every year? Are they connected with a particular season or holiday? Scott, go ahead and go first.
The easy answer is the Christmas movies. I know we all have this list of ones we watch every year. Christmas
Put
Story,
your eye out.
Christmas Vacation, those kind of things. There's one that I thought you guys might find entertaining. When I was a kid, I loved the movie Independence Day, and if you watch that movie, it's split up into 3 acts, and they kind of give the day at the beginning: July 2nd, July 3rd, July 4th.
Most stories are 3 acts, but whatever. Just go on.
If you tell me you watch each day the act,
We had good intention to do it. I think my brother and I did it 1 year, where we watched like each section on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of July because we thought it was cool, and we're like, we're gonna do this every year. We never did it again. It was just it's just a ridiculous
I think you made
idea.
the right choice.
Which day do they get to Earth?
What about you, Justin?
Well, first let me say, girls named Jessie, that's hot. That's a hot name.
And you should
I
listen
like
to our feminism episode from last week.
Hey, what? I can't say that her name is hot. Please. Whenever the fall hits, I'll usually pop in When Harry Met Sally. Even though that movie covers years and years and multiple seasons, fall is really the predominant season for that film and when the most important parts of it take place. I used to watch that film once a month, maybe if not more, but I kind of tapered it off to just once a year when fall hits and, like she says, when those leaves start turning color. I'll pop in When Harry Met Sally. It's just one of those movies that I don't think I can ever get tired of. I'll always get a little weepy-eyed when it gets near the end of it. Oh, I'm so crying right now.
Wow.
But no, there really aren't any, other than that, films that I can really, and A Christmas Story. On TBS, I mean, shit, I think we leave the TV on all day, catching different moments of that thing. All day long. And I've taken to watching the Paranormal Activity movies, especially now that they're releasing them every Halloween. It's kind of become easy to do that, and I will watch them at home. But I think just the fall, Harry Met Sally, that's probably my big one.
Brian?
Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, Christmas.
Yeah, I'm with you on those.
Scrooge.
This movie?
Yeah, they are. They are Christmas movies.
Yep. According to our definition, they're Christmas movies. Shut up.
So,
Fucking wrong.
Get together, have a few laughs.
But I usually pop in the Lord of the Rings trilogy also late November, maybe early December. That's usually about the time because it's usually stays so hot down here in the deep south. It's usually about the time that it starts to finally cool off. So
You live in the dirty South.
That's right. So it's I think and it's probably for the same reason. Something about the Lord of the Rings movies when a lot of that area though has a kind of a fall autumn type of feel in it. So maybe that kind of triggers something.
Especially Lothlorien.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that kind of when you start seeing your trees turning stuff around wherever you live, maybe that's kind of what triggers that need to watch it. I don't know.
I have the same thing. Die Hard. I watched The Ref, Christmas Vacation, Bad Santa. Christmas is kind of the easy one to nail. But honestly, I'm not like you guys. I'm not happy. So
yeah,
Well,
you don't
we
have
know.
a soul.
Halloween is my season. That's the season where I have like specific things that happen every Halloween. I always watch the Halloween movies, part 1 or 4. Those are the ones that I prefer to watch. Friday 13th, part 4, every Halloween.
Which one had the little girl?
That's
It's to Halloween.
part 4. That's part 4.
Yeah, that's why. Okay.
Worst.
Wow. Friday the 13th, part 4, Evil Dead, Scream. I have a horror movie marathon every year, usually with my kids if they're around. It's just something that has always been a big deal to me. I just like Halloween better than Christmas. I mean, Christmas is great and everybody has a great time. And I love Christmas and I love Christmas movies. That's why I love Bad Santa. But Halloween's definitely my time. But really, in what she's speaking of, every year, and I don't even think my mother knows this, but every year on my mother's birthday, I watch one of the movies we saw as a kid. It's either Raiders of the Lost Ark, Rear Window, or Psycho. Every year on her birthday, just because she's the one that got me into movies, and it kind of, I don't know.
You almost sound like you have a heart.
Shh! Don't you start telling people.
No.
Nobody will buy that crap. There's a couple other movies: The Crow, Escape from New York, DOA, Serenity, Jaws. I watch all those at least once a year.
I will say,
DOA.
Dennis Quaid, baby.
Oh, I thought that was that crappy video game movie that just came out.
No.
Jamie Presley and
This would be a Dennis Quaid, Meg Ryan movie where he gets poisoned. He has 48 hours to find out who killed him.
Hopefully he didn't find out. As much as a Star Wars fan as I am, if I'm going to watch them, more often than not, it does seem to be during the winter season. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that when I was a kid, a lot of the toys and gifts I got were all Star Wars, or the Millennium Falcon. Christmas was Star Wars for me. Even though the movies always came out, in the summer, it was really about the toys and all the merchandise, and that was a big Christmas thing. And especially with Hoth, there's nothing like watching the opening of Empire Strikes Back when it's cold, because then it just adds that sensory feeling to it.
So it's not because you spend a lot of time outside during the rest of the year?
No. Here in my office, I actually have a Star Wars wall. I will take a picture of it when I'm all done.
Oh, that was
It's a
fantastic.
sickness.
That's fantastic. All right, let's go to emails. Scotty?
All right, our first email comes from Jesse. Who I assume that's the same Jesse who
Yes,
mentioned
that
above.
one's the same one.
All right. You don't have to read this on the air or anything. Too bad we are anyway. But I thought I had to respond to Scott since he said no one had written in to defend Moonrise Kingdom. To avoid a possible rant, I'll just say that my husband and I both really, really liked it, and so did several of our friends and family members. I get that Wes Anderson's style doesn't appeal to everyone, so I'm not going to try and explain why it's funny, but I would think most people would enjoy this movie. Definitely not the worst of the summer. Thanks, as always, Jesse. I don't know what more I can say about this movie. I really wish someone would explain to me why this movie is funny.
how can you watch this movie right now? Is it pay-per-view? Is it on cable?
I think
Blu-ray?
it's still in theaters, actually. It's still in theaters. Yeah.
Limited.
Yeah, it's limited release, though. It's a limited release.
So it's kind of oh, okay, all right.
And I don't mean to sound like a hater. Like I just hate this movie. This is the worst movie I've ever seen. I don't get it.
I went through a phase a while back where I liked all of just about everything that Wes Anderson did. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm still in that phase. I haven't watched one in a long time.
Well, and obviously I'm in the minority in this. This thing is at 96% on people that like this movie, and that's over like.
No, it's a critical darling movie, but it is getting rave reviews. People that go to like it are people that are familiar with his style and like his films.
Mm-hmm.
He has a very unique style. I think if you like that style, then you're probably going to like the movie. If you don't like his previous films, you're probably not going to like it.
Well, don't say that. I mean, I like Wes Anderson when he did Bottle Rocket, and I liked it when he did the Royal Tenenbaums. But when he did The Aquatic Life, that fucking movie was terrible. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen a Wes Anderson movie since. So don't just say, well, if you get Wes Anderson's style, his style isn't always consistent either. You can like some movies of his and not others. I haven't seen Moonrise Kingdom, though, so I can't say.
That's it. You guys are going to watch this and probably love it. I'm going to look like an idiot.
No, Jesse, here's what we'd like you to do.
Well, you're probably going to look like an idiot, but it'll be for much more reasons than the fact of whether we like Moonrise Kingdom or not.
Jesse, if you would, send us an email and just tell us what you liked about it. I mean, we get that you like it, and obviously a lot of people like it. Obviously, Scott's the minority according to the critical consensus and everything else, but we want to know what you liked about what made it so funny or clever or whatever you liked about it. Now let's go on to Justin's got one.
All right, we have one here from JC. He says, "Hey hoes, I was sorting mail in an apartment lobby when I heard
He won the
I
shirt.
danced a little. What?
He won the I'm a Ho shirt a couple of weeks back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to give context to his email?
Yeah, just let
I
him
figured
read the
after I
email,
got
will
into
you?
this a little more, the context would come into it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
Would you like me to start over?
No, go ahead. Do what you got to do.
All right. I was sorting mail in an apartment lobby when I heard. I danced a little jig, and people thought I was strange. I just started listening to the podcast a couple of months ago, and let me say that I really look forward to each release. I've been searching for a good movie podcast for quite some time. I found you guys via the Dead Robots Society and have been an avid listener ever since. Keep up the excellent work. Thanks for the prize, and thank you for producing such an excellent show. Boo-ho-ya, JC.
I love that.
I like seeing Dead Robots listeners coming over to the show. I do. I will definitely have to do more pimpage, because if these people are listening and coming over, then I can get more.
All right.
Did you get a drink of water to wet your throat for this one? It's a little bit of a read.
This is going out to one of those special lawbreakers out there.
Oh, God.
Oh, this one comes from one of my personal favorite listeners, Sue. She says, boys, opening a dead...
Are you going to read the damn
Shut
email?
up. Shut up. Boys, opening a debate about women in film, are you? Were y'all drunk? A minefield, that one. My advice to you, move fast and low under cover of darkness. Maybe change your names. Wink. I'm sure you'll get many different viewpoints from your legion of female listeners, and here's mine. It saddens me to write, as a rabid fan of film, that I have never, ever looked to Hollywood to provide me or my 15-year-old daughter with a strong female example. They are few and far between. For every Ripley, there's 100 Vivian Wards, and for the younger generation, for every Maddie Ross, there's 100 Bella Swans. Yuck. See, in my book, a strong female lead does not require a flashing neon light above her telling us, see, we are being fair. Strong female lead here. Maybe I'll get shit for this, but as an example, that flashing light is all I got out of The Silence of the Lambs. The central theme of Lambs was, hey, looky what this sweet little country gal did all by her little old self. Hated it. Felt pandered to and manipulated. Plus, Starling was technically inept and would have been dead 2 steps into James Gumb's house. But that's just one of my own personal nitpicks, so I'll skip the diatribe on that.
Put the lotion in the basket. Sorry, go ahead.
The answer? If a female with a big gun or a good left hook or a sharp tongue is required to move a good story along, have at it. But if it's not, don't create the role just to create it. We are not tokens, Chris Sanchez in SWAT, or any number of Michelle Rodriguez's roles for that matter. Don't shoehorn us in. Don't use a strong woman as a novelty like Haywire. Easy, big fella. I mean the movie, not the book. The female lead in the book was natural, and I never felt that Justin made the female lead for cash.
Cachet.
Cachet.
Thank you.
Sorry this was so long and decidedly unfunny, but there you have it from a chick who whoops ass now and then. And when I do whoop that ass, no one around me ever says, pretty good for a girl, because that's what makes for a strong woman, is that no one cares that she's strong and a woman. It's not a factor in the equation. Hollywood doesn't get that. I'm glad the gang was all back together this week. Congrats on the new casa, Justin. That's just awesome. Live long and prosper, my man. Oh, almost forgot. Hi, Brian. Much love, Sue.
Wow. Okay.
At least you didn't say we were wrong.
No, we were pretty much in tune, I think. Timmy on Twitter, I had said that I didn't care about Moneyball, and she wanted to let me know that Moneyball had a father-daughter element. She was bawling when I was bawling when his daughter sang him the song. FYI, not a sports fan. She's basically telling me, shut the fuck up and go see this damn movie. So, go ahead. Justin?
All right, this last email is from... I don't want to say that I have favorite listeners because...
You say it all the time.
All right,
every-
yeah. My
every-
favorite
every-
listener...
Every time you read her letter, every week.
And Facebook friend, Ashley. She said, hey guys, I just wanted to say bravo for even attempting to attack the feminism in film topic. I wanted to put your minds at ease regarding how you came off during your podcast. As a lady, I assume if you're talking about a movie that happens to have a hot broad in it, her word, guys, not mine. Your opinion on her physique is going to be part of the discussion. It's a podcast with 4 men hosting. I'd be shocked if you left it out. I find that you're very respectful to women on your podcast and think it's evident through your growing female audience. I was trying to decide how I feel about a women's role in film. It's difficult for me as I'm a woman who also likes the ladies. I came to the conclusion that I am in agreement with Justin, as she should be. I think it's unfortunate that in today's society, women's sexuality is seen as weakness or offensive by some women. I wish that the ladies could embrace their sexiness and see it as strength instead of exploitation. Example, I like to think Catwoman dresses in the latex catsuit to distract her enemies, not only to titillate male readers, viewers. Thanks, guys. Ashley.
That's exactly why I think she dresses in latex, too.
I'm too busy ogling. I wouldn't put up a fight.
Yeah, you win. What do you want?
Yep.
I just give her my watch.
I just fall down. I'm here.
Oh, P.S. Ashley, I finally have The Skin I Live In on my iPad, so I will watch it for next week's show. Cross my heart. You can always find us at thehollywoodoutsider.com. Please stay through the credits for outtakes. Facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider. You can email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Tell your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Zoom, Google Reader, or listen on your Stitcher radio app or any plain old RSS feed. And we are on RockfordCollegeRadio.com Thursdays from 4 to 6. Thanks to each of the podcasters. Brian Williams, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
It sure was. Justin McCumber, host of the Dead Robot Society. It's a weekly podcast for aspiring writers, available at deadrobotsociety.com. Thanks, Justin.
It is my pleasure, as always.
Mr. I live in a mansion with a pool and shit.
Oh, fuck, it's not a mansion. It's not that big.
Mm-hmm.
It is nice.
Got a pool shaped like Mickey Mouse.
No, it's more like
And Minnie Mouse.
almost like a dog bone shape. But it's got little waterfalls at each end. Oh, it is so nice.
Yeah, but it's the lazy river that runs through the house and around the side that really just kind of puts it over the top. I'm sorry.
And
It's a boat.
Scott Clark, who has a frog pool.
It's your pleasure, Aaron.
Yeah, it is. Next week, as usual, we'll have more reviews, a new topic, and more in the next Hollywood Outsider. So remember,
We will be reviewing Judge Dredd.
oh, you're
My
going to go see
brother
it?
and I are going.
Okay.
I might be going to see The Master.
We're not going to make any promises, but
Yeah.
Dread we will have for
That's
sure.
why I said might.
Remember from all of us, the next time that you guys go to a theater, except in New York, buy popcorn.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Shut up. I don't know what just happened, but it sounds...
Who
What?
amongst us has not had to throw away a pair of underwear in our time? Am I right? Am I right?
Oh, high five. Woo!
Is it Sun Chips?
Does it matter?
Does he sound like a Sun
Yeah.
Chips eater to you?
No, that shit's kettle cooked.
They're
Yeah,
cheese.
kettle stuff, yeah. Do you know what you call a droid on today?
What?
Arr!
Oh,
Because today be speaking like a pirate day. Arr.
all I know is I love the booty.
Do you know how much it costs a pirate to get his ear pierced? Buck in the ear.
Ah!
That's cool. This is what happens when you student teach.
Hey, don't judge. I'm the 53% of people that pay their taxes.
You know what happened?
To what?
Leroy Jenkins!
You got to get some new clips, though. You can't keep using the same one.
Yeah, but those are the best ones.
I wouldn't use it every week. Come on, bring something original, man.
Don't challenge me.
Well, now it's time to take a little trip to Brian's trailer park. Or is it?
All right.